Welcome to the Quietly Visible podcast. I'm your host, Carol Stewart, founder of Abounding Solutions and author of Quietly Visible, Leading with Influence and Impact as an Introverted Woman. This is a podcast for introverted women who want to thrive as leaders and in life. And today I'm talking about changing careers. I've been getting a lot of inquiries recently from women who are in their early 40s, late 30s, sort of going up to 50 odd, who are at a stage in their lives where they're unhappy at work and they're too scared to do anything about it. And this is something that I used to see many years ago in the early days of starting my coaching business, but I've not seen it in the numbers that I have been seeing of it lately. And when I did, in the early days of starting my business, I did a survey amongst working women, and 78% of them said that fear prevented them from pursuing a career that they loved. So they were stuck in jobs, unhappy, but they were too fearful to do anything about it. And this is what I've been finding with the women that have been approaching me lately. There's that fear of making that change, that fear of the unknown. And when it comes to making change and stepping out into the unknown, it can be scary, it can be fearful. Because we're creatures of habit. We like to be in control of our circumstances. We like to know what's around the corner, what's going to happen next. And when we don't, it can feel like a sense of a threat to our sense of personal security, make us anxious and worried and fearful. And what it can do is, if somebody is unhappy in their particular role, their career, it can make them stay in the comfort zone. You know that saying, better the devil that you know than the devil that you don't know? So many women are staying in careers that they're not happy about. But one of the shifts I've seen since the COVID pandemic is women wanting meaning and purpose from the work that they do. I see increasingly seeing people that are looking for meaning and purpose. And one of the things that I see, particularly amongst millennials, that they are more likely to pursue meaningful and purposeful work and work for organisations that are purpose driven. But for this demographic of women, sort of late 30s, 40s, early 50s, they may have been in their jobs for a long time, doing what they're doing for a long time, and that fear of making that change is keeping them stuck. And so if this describes you, and you too are wanting to make a career change and are not sure how to go about doing it, you're fearful of making the change, then hopefully what I share will give you some things to think about and some strategies that you can put into place. So if fear is the thing that is getting in the way, then look at what it is that you are fearful of. What is it that you are worrying about? But before we even go there and start that, let's first of all explore why it is that you want to change careers. How do you know that you're fed up where you are? How do you know that you want to move on? And is it that you no longer enjoy your work? Is it that you find your job dissatisfying? Is it the environment? Or is it the people? For getting clear about what your reason is for wanting to change is quite important, because you need to determine whether you do really want to change or whether there is something that you can do to make your current role more satisfying or make changes within your existing organisation. And if you have determined that, no, it's time for me to move on, I'm ready to move on, then look at what it is that you are fearful of. What is it that you are worrying about? What is the worst thing that could happen? Is it that you've got so comfortable where you are that you just can't think about working somewhere else? I had one client who had been in her role for so long that she'd lost sight of her skills, and she felt that she couldn't do anything else. And so what we did was, I got her to reacquaint herself with her job description and the skill set that she had, and recognize how she utilizes her skills, what her strengths are, and how those can apply in a new role. So addressing that fear, what is that thing that you are worrying about? What is the worst thing that could happen, and what can you do about it? For some people, it might be that they're scared of making a change and then it not working out, and then they're being without a job and not being able to pay their rent or their mortgage. And sometimes those can be quite irrational fears. So it's about looking at what is the worst that could happen, and if that was to happen, what could you do? And once you've addressed your fears and if you're not sure about what it is that you want to do, then think about what your values are. What are those things that are meaningful to you, that are important to you? Our values go to the core of who we are, and it's important when we're thinking about our career, making changes, that we take into consideration our values. And it's not just about thinking about what's important to you at work, also thinking about what's important to you outside of work, because you don't exist in work and out of work. You are the same person. And so looking at it from a holistic perspective, as what stage are you at at the moment in your life, and what is important to you, and as we go through the years, we have different stages in our career, and what is important and what matters to us. There's one piece of research that shows that in their early careers, women are seeking challenge, that they want something more challenging, and that's often the case because they're just starting out and they're wanting to progress, so they're looking for that challenge that can stretch them, that can challenge them, that can take them to the next level in their career. And then by mid-career, they're looking for balance. This is often a time where they're starting to have families and to settle down, so wanting a bit more of the balance between their work and their personal life. And then in their late career, they're looking for authenticity. They want to be authentic. They want to do work that aligns with who they are. They've got to a stage now where they're looking for that authenticity. And this isn't to put you in a box depending on what stage of your career you're at, but that's just to give you an example of what the research shows, so that when you're thinking about what stage you are at in your life, what is important to you, you take that into consideration. What is it that you're looking for from a role? Is it that you want challenge? Is it that you want balance? Is it that you want authenticity? Do you want a combination of all three? And so you'll need to take that into consideration when you're thinking about the kind of work that you do, the kind of organisations that you want to work at. Or is it that you are wanting to make a complete career transition and do something totally different to what you've ever done? Or are you wanting to stay in the same field but just go to a different organisation? Getting clear about that is important as well, because if you're clear that you want to stay in your particular sector or industry, but it's just that you want to work at a different organisation, then that's a different path that you will go down, because then it's about identifying the kind of organisations that you want to work at, the kind of values that those organisations have, and looking at that. If it's that you are uncertain about what it is that you want, you want to do something different, but you're not quite sure what that is, then it's about, once you've identified your values, what's important to you, what stage of life that you're at, what matters to you in your life, where you're at right now, it's then looking at, well, what are your strengths, what are your skills, what are you good at, what do you enjoy doing? So identifying those things that you enjoy doing and that you are good at, into your strengths, and how can you utilize them elsewhere, and looking at the kind of roles that you enjoy. And something that may help you is just about looking back over your career and the highlights of your career. what was it that you were doing? What skills were you using? What strengths were you using? Or even writing your career story and exploring what it was that led to you to get into the career that you did, and things that happened over the years, the skills you were using, the strengths that you utilized, and then using that to help identify what interests you. Another thing that you can do is think back to when you were a child, and what were your dreams and aspirations as a child. And you may not have had any, because not all children dream about what they want to be when they grow up, but what were some of those things that you dreamed about being as a child? Because sometimes you can find something in that when you're thinking about what it is that you're wanting to do now. So once you've identified your values, what is important to you, what matters to you, your skills and your strengths and what you enjoy doing, looking back over your career, the highlights, what you enjoyed the most, think about what other roles could you do that enables you to utilize your strengths and your skills, that aligns with your values, and how you can marry them up into a particular role. So I'll give you an example of one client who she was working within the sort of criminal justice sector, and she wasn't really enjoying it. She enjoyed the interactions when she was speaking to victims and witnesses and so forth, but she didn't really enjoy a lot of the work that she was doing. One of the things that she really enjoyed was dealing with numbers and finance, and so when we sort of explored what skills she had, what she enjoyed doing, so she enjoyed the people side of things, working and interacting with people, but she also enjoyed working with finance and doing numbers and analysing data and financial information. And so we explored what different roles that could lead to. She sort of did her own research, and the thing that she identified was becoming a financial advisor. And so she then identified what particular training was needed to become a financial advisor, an independent financial advisor, and she was then able to pursue something that she was passionate about, that enabled her to utilize her skills and her strengths, as well as that interaction with people. And then once you've identified what it is that you want to do, then it's looking at, well, how then do you make that transition? How do you, if you had to develop new skills, or you need to develop new skills, how can you develop those skills? If it's a case that you need experience, how can you get that experience? If it's a totally different field to what you've done, things that you can do is look at doing some voluntary work in that particular sector. So looking at those charities, those voluntary organisations that want people that do what you're wanting to do, that would allow you to get some practical experience. Is it a case that you could do some job shadowing, identifying who it is that you could job shadow just so that you can learn about the job? Could you do an apprenticeship scheme? Because, you know, apprenticeship schemes are not just for those that are just starting out in their careers. There are many schemes which are available for mature people. Or if it's that you're returning to work, returner programs that you could go on and to help you explore what it is that you want to do. And it's a matter of gaining that practical experience and looking at how you can get that, so that you can get that confidence in what it is that you are going to put yourself forward for. Or is it a case that you want to start your own business? And could you take those skills, that thing that you love doing, and turn it into your own business? So that is some food for thought for you, something to think about as you decide what it is that you want to do next. And don't forget, you know, if you've been working for many, many years, you've had a long career, you have got lots of skills and strengths and experience that is transferable if you're wanting to make a total career transition. Sometimes when you look at job descriptions and job roles, they're often written in jargon to that specific industry. And you may think that, well, you haven't got that experience. Another client who was in a comfort zone and happy in her job didn't feel that she could do something else because she didn't feel she had many skills. And so what I did was got her to get reacquainted with her skills by revisiting her job description, identifying what were the skills that were required for that, what were the competencies that were required for that, and then looking at how that they transferred into whatever of the other roles that she was interested in. So if you're in a job that you no longer enjoy and you're too scared to do anything about it, then hopefully this will help. So put it into practice and let me know how you get on. Thank you for listening, and if you are wanting to increase your confidence, influence and impact and you haven't completed my free assessment, go to aboundingsolutions.com. Under free resources, there's a free assessment that you can complete that will give you ideas about areas that you can focus on. So until the next time, bye.